What's going on, folks? It's your boy again, back in the building. Dr. Sean Thomas here, episode 60 of the Be More Today show. We are back in the building. And folks, 60 episodes. We've done it. We've hit another milestone in our growth of Be More Today. And it's all thanks to your love and support. We really appreciate all the love you've been giving us. We're now in 35 countries, trending everywhere. So we appreciate you. If you've listened to any one of the shows, either day number 1 or day number 60, we appreciate you. And if you have missed any of these shows, you've been missing out. So go back on our site, Be More Today. Follow us, subscribe. Again, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're everywhere doing great things. And again, our message is simple. Ordinary people, extraordinary things. That's been our whole mindset since day one. We've been doing that. I won't say flawlessly. We've been doing it our way, and it's been really, really fun to do. So we appreciate you guys as always. I have a great guest on the show today, but my quote for today is simple as always, and it's by Tabitha Brown. And she said, "Don't let nobody keep you in a box simply because they're scared to get out of theirs." Wow. Yo, there are so many things that we are afraid to do as people. I think back on my life and all the things that I was hesitant to even try. But a lot of those things weren't so much about me. It was about me being afraid of doing something that maybe someone else might not be appreciative of or might not approve of. And sometimes we get so scared just to go out there and try stuff, to go out there and be afraid to fail. Recognize that, that failing forward is what we really need to propel us forward to get to our bigger destination, our bigger goals. So I charge you guys this week and this day to go out there and be fearless, to not stay in these sides of these boxes of what we think is right, what you think you have to do career-wise, professionally, even in terms of how we act as people, right? You can go out there and be great and be you, make that mold for you, the future you, and you'll be surprised how amazing it can really be once you get all the guards down of fear and insecurity and anxiety. You're going to be great. So I charge you this day to go out there and don't let nobody put you in a box. Because they're afraid to get out of theirs. You set the standard and hopefully they'll follow. And my guest for today, folks, embodies that wholeheartedly. She is a friend. She is family. She's my cousin, y'all. I got to keep it real. We grew up together. I have 5 brothers, but this person right here, I grew up with at the same time. So we share experiences that our brothers collectively don't really even have. And her name is Shukura Taylor. Now, she is fashion, beauty, and lifestyle content creator that focuses on fashion and beauty from a Black woman's perspective. Though all women are welcome, right? She often focuses on the beauty and fashion issues specific to Black women, self-confidence, feeling and looking your best, as well as finding your own personal style are weaved into the ethos of Shukura's brand. She holds a degree in education, counseling, and is a graduate of the FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. While studying at FIT, she learned that the ins and outs of the business of fashion, how to spot trends, and the importance that the fashion industry has on the economy. It wasn't until she graduated from FIT with a BA in fashion business management that she realized the role that fashion and beauty play in the confidence of women across the world and how Black women were being left out of the story. So she decided to design her own narrative. Shukura was a teacher for over 15 years and learned so much about leadership, organization, and self-discipline. She also learned many things about herself during this time. Paramount among them was that with God's help, she could do anything. Though she loves children, the practice of teaching, and the joy that she gets from shaping young minds, she felt compelled to use her fashion degree and pursue other passions. Now, Shukura stepped out on faith, stepped away from teaching, and got a job as a secretary in a law office. This job allowed her to still make a living, fund her YouTube channel and brand, and lean into plans that God had for her. Then the pandemic hit. Her office shut down and she was out of a job, but that didn't stop her. She was raised to know that all things work together for the good for those that love the Lord. So she persisted. She put in thousands of hours working on her brand and now has 2 streams of income and is working on many, many more. She believes that God has for her is for her, and she will continue to persist, prevail, and push on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pets included, please welcome to the stage my cousin, Shukura Taylor. What's up, cuz?
Hey, cuz, what is up?
Nothing much. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You just preached a word right there.
Yeah, hey, I just read what it is, I just read what it is. So listen, I appreciate you. we're the same age. We grew up around the same time. We grew up in the same area, in the same neighborhood. You know, I have 4 brothers. You know, you have 2 brothers. We grew up together. And you know, I remember a lot of our experiences together were very, very special. And we don't really have a chance to talk about those, or even a chance to really like engage in those conversations because we're being so busy nowadays. But and everybody thinks that your husband's actually related to me, but in actuality, this is it. You know what I'm saying?
This is the cousin.
This is it. Exactly. So, you know, I appreciate you, and it's been awesome watching your journey and just following you and seeing you grow and prosper and just do great things. So I'm just happy you're on the show today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on the show.
Appreciate that. So listen, there's so much to talk about, but I kind of want to talk about, you know, I know you went to school upstate and then you went to Oakwood, right? A very prestigious HBCU. And, you know, after that, I lost track of your journey to get to where you are. So I kind of wanted you to talk about the Oakwood Experience, which, you know, for some, they may not know what Oakwood is. And for those who do know Oakwood, clearly they do. And then what sparked you from that experience to get into teaching in the first place?
All right. Well, the Oakwood Experience is probably one of the best things that I've experienced in my almost 40 years, right? I met my husband there. I met some of my best friends there, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But when I did start Oakwood, I had no idea what I wanted to do. In fact, I think I was undeclared major for as long as my parents would let me. I was lost. I was just there and I didn't know what to do. Until I think it might have been spring break or Christmas break. I came home and I went to work with my mom. My mom's a teacher, as you know, and she was just dynamic in the classroom. When I'm telling you, she was walking around, the kids were attentive, they were excited. When I'm telling you they were excited, they were like so excited to learn. Everybody's hands was in the air and she was just working the room. And I remember looking at this like, this might be something that I can do. On the way back home, I was in the car, I was asking her a lot of questions because I was a lost soul. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And she was telling me that a lot of these kids come from terrible homes and they're just not as fortunate as we were, you know, to grow up in the suburbs really and have, you know, a good family. And I felt compelled to give back in that way because they didn't have what I had. And honestly, I've always been a teacher. I taught my youngest brother to read. I taught him his first color, which was green. And I was naturally a teacher. So then I was just like, I went home and I went back to Oakland. I said, I'm going to be a teacher. And then that's kind of where it started. I have some really good examples because your mom and my mom actually are phenomenal educators. And I guess I just wanted to follow in their footsteps. So.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I remember I also, you know, although I went to this great school, I graduated with a psych major or a psych degree. And I was like, all right, so now what? Then you know, I was a substitute teacher with your mom. At your high schools. And I didn't think I was going to be able to even do that. But seeing her in that classroom, you know, and seeing my mom also, it just gives you a different perspective on how important teachers are and how important it really is to make sure that we, you know, support our teachers and give them, you know, their due, especially during COVID-19. We saw clearly how important teachers really, really are for all the parents, us included, who were home being like, yo, what? How are you teaching? How do you do this? So, you know, shout out to all the teachers who do those kind of things. And so you went through that. And then, you know, I think one of the most challenging things for me looking at teachers in general is that, you know, during this COVID-19 thing, it's hard to teach in general, right? Given all this distraction that kids have to go through, even in the classroom. But now that you have people at home on Zoom trying to learn, it's almost impossible. What do you think? And this is, I guess, my last question for you, as teacher-wise, is that, you know, you've been an educator, you've seen the school systems and what they've gone through and what they've had to go through the last couple of years. This last year with COVID-19. What do you think the most challenging thing has been or will be for teachers moving forward, now that we're kind of coming out of this, hopefully coming out of this Zoom era and going back into classrooms soon, what will be one of the most challenging things you think teachers have to face in the future moving forward?
Well, ooh, wow. I feel, well, it's already hard to it's already hard to capture the attention of 20 plus children. So the fact that teachers were doing it on Zoom is just the craziest, most phenomenal thing. I tell you, man, I'm not teaching right now. You never know what will happen. I might go back, but I feel like teachers need to have like, there needs to be several holidays for them because it's not an easy job.
Yeah.
But going back into the classroom, it's going to be hard for kids. Kids accommodate and they adapt really quickly. Not quickly, but they do adapt. But I think going back into the classroom, teachers are going to have time, their own time, getting used to being
20 kids again and having to run a classroom and having to get a flow of a classroom going. There's a clear flow that teachers have to have every day that they didn't have during Zoom. So they're going to have to kind of get back in that and show the kids what is necessary to get through the day, especially now that kids, like you said, Soso has to change her mask 6 times a day. Yeah. It's I think they're angels, but it's just a matter of getting into a flow and getting into routine and making the kids realize that this is the new normal for a while. Yeah. So good luck to them.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. And I guess we'll see how that goes. It's funny. I think about our parents. I think about our grandmother. Segue into your fashion. I know you were a teacher for a long time, and then in your bio you talked about literally going out on a limb and going down this FIT road. Our grandmother, I can say it. She was a diva, right? She had everything in terms of bags and shoes and what have you. Our mothers also embody that, right? And as do you too. So, I'm curious, from your perspective, I'm a guy, you're a female clearly, and you go down that lineage of the great females we have in our family. There's a passion for fashion.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Passion for fashion.
Oh, definitely.
Where do you think that comes from? And for you, what sparked that passion for you to even follow this road to FIT?
Well, I always tell people, because people asked this before, I tell people that I come from a long lineage of fabulous women. And what I'm like, no exaggeration, the most fabulous women. I actually remember when grandma would come visit from Florida, and we would go to Aunt Pam's room, at Pam's house. And it would be mom, your mom, Aunt Pam, grandma, and Noreen, and they would be in the room looking through their clothes, trying on clothes, putting things together. And I just remember sitting there like, this is fabulous. I don't know if you know, but Aunt Pam was modeling. Like she was trying to do a little bit of modeling because she was gorgeous. And I think it's just, I think that I had different role models, I might have been different. But I mean, your mom has silver fur coats. My mom has silver fur coats. Grandma was just fabulous. That's just what I saw. And that want to be, if anybody, I always say, they're women, they're fabulous. They're educated and they're fabulous. That's just my, I don't know. And though I don't know if they know that, because I probably never told them, and I probably should, but they are everything that they embody everything that I want to be. So yeah, it's just a long lineage of fabulous, beautiful, fashion forward women. I just fell in line, I feel like.
Yeah. It's amazing to see how that just trickles down through generations.
It's crazy.
And I'm curious now that you went the FIT road, and now you have this amazingly fast-growing brand, Simply Kura. So what is Simply Kura for listeners who are on right now?
Well, going back to Mom Vanessa, Grandma, I know that what I want Simply Kura to be is a online destination for women to come and simply be them. I feel like a lot of times women or feel like they're supposed to be everybody's superhero, particularly Black women. We're supposed to be strong, and sometimes we don't want to be strong, you know. And I just want my destination, or Simply Core, the online destination, to be a place of solace for women. We talk about fashion. We do talk about politics if we need to, or you don't talk about politics. I need them. I just want people to be simply them when they are dealing with my brand, right? So when I go back to mom at Vanessa Grandma, they could talk about politics and still flip over, put on their fur coat and walk out the door, right? So they have that well-roundedness, if you will, that I'm trying to be like and would love to teach other women to be, because I realized that a lot of women did not have that. The more I speak to women, a lot of them didn't have that role model. I had no idea. I thought every woman grew up with fabulous women. So I would be able to teach women how to importance of balancing that act, and the importance of keeping yourself grounded and just being yourself. You don't have to be anything else. You can just be simply you.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's a great
Yeah.
concept. It's a great brand. I've watched a
Yeah.
number of your videos online, and I've seen it grow. I've seen it grow tremendously in the last couple of years, even especially during this last year. I mean, your
Yeah,
followers
I'm
have grown
working.
so quickly, and
Thank you.
even friends that we have mutually, they follow your site and they always talk about how fabulous your posts are and what's going on, and they actually got lots of questions about all the things that you're doing. So, I have 1,000 questions for you, because as someone who's also trying to build a brand, I know COVID has been a great time for people to go out there and put in hours, right? To put in work into
Yes.
their harnessing their craft and developing their brand. And you found ways to build this brand successfully. What are some of the tips that you want to share in terms of, building your Instagram, your YouTube platform? And how have you used, if you think you have, use your teaching skills at all to further teach your listeners more about what you're trying to put out there on your platform?
Well, I've 100% used my teaching skills. 100%. Teachers they have to be able consistent. They have to be able to pivot in an instant. They have to be able to adapt. And they are responsible for, everything and pushing themselves to be successful. I have used what my husband and I call transferable skills from my teaching to what I'm trying to do right now. If I will tell anybody anything, and I'm still learning and still growing, obviously, but to be consistent. My viewers know that I'm going to be on YouTube every Wednesday at 5:30, 6 o'clock every Sunday. They will DM me. They will be like, okay, sis, where are you? It's about consistency. If I tell you I'm showing up to your house at 10 o'clock every morning, I have to be there. I'm showing up to these people's house, right? So consistency for sure is the biggest thing. Because like kids, people value consistency, and they value, they want to be able to trust you. And the other thing I really feel like is important is being able to pivot. With this whole pandemic season, fashion and beauty just really didn't matter as much, because, people were getting shot, people were dying, and I had to be able to pivot my brand to be able to serve the people who still follow me, right? So yeah, I think being flexible and being consistent is a big, huge secret. I don't say secret, but has helped me gain more of a following for sure.
Yeah, those are good tips. I do feel like I agree with you. Consistency and flexibility, especially during these times, has been
Right.
probably part of the keystones of success. We're
Yes.
trying to make our brand as well. We're not as big as you are at all, but just looking at your consistent platform, you've been putting out content, and it hasn't been this content that you just put out there. It's been consistent quality content. for
Thank
weeks,
you.
months. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing to see the growth. I mean, even in terms of the pictures and depictions and the fashion, clearly. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of questions about where your things come from. How do you get these merchandise from people? And do you just have a closet or 5,000 closets that has all the things that you're putting out there? So what happens behind the scenes? How do you do all these things? And from the production to the pictures that are being taken, the videos, the clothing, where does it all come from? How does it all work? What are the inner workings of Simply Kura?
Well, my closet isn't small. I'm not gonna lie. I have a lot. I'm not gonna lie. But it comes from several places. Well, when you first start, you have to put in your own money. That's it. So a lot of it is, well, less, but a lot of it is my own money, putting it back into the brand. And then the other one is people contacting me, emailing me, saying that they want me to try something to show to my audience. And then the other one is brands that I have a relationship with, that they would pay me to tell me to give my audience, or they would give me a commission, right? So, but those brands I'm very particular about, because what I want to give my audience is something that I really want to love myself. So they come from everywhere. As far as editing and Instagram, my husband does take my Instagram pictures, and we go out on Sunday and we shoot all day. I change in the car and we shoot all day. If this is what I want, this is what I have to do, right? We have a sheet that he puts over the car and I change in the car, and then I go shoot the next outfit, and we drive to the next location. I shoot the next outfit. Editing my YouTube videos is all me. I come up with the idea, I then shoot the idea, and then I edit it, which takes forever. But I feel like if I want a quality audience, I have to give them a quality product. So I invested. I have 2 cameras, I have a ring light, I have 2 lights over here. And yeah, you have to put in what you want to get back. So initially it was a lot of money. Thank goodness we had money set aside, and my husband makes money. But yeah, it's a lot going on behind the scenes. I don't keep everything. Some things I do sell because I live in a New York City 1-bedroom apartment. It's not enough space. But I'm not gonna lie to you, cuz I have a lot of purses. I have a lot of purses. But yeah, it gets intense. Yeah.
That's very impressive. I think a lot of people forget, or I guess they don't appreciate the work that happens behind the scenes. I can attest to that on my end. A lot of stuff happens in terms of what I do to put things out there. But, on your end as well, you just mentioned there's so many things that happen. You said all day Sunday. You're literally out there doing things all day just to get the perfect shot, the perfect this, driving from destination to destination, get to what, the vision of what you want that next post to be like. So I think a lot of people take that for granted, not recognizing that a lot of time has to go into that thing to really go into the brand. So do you ever feel like, and I say this to my podcast friends, I have a whole little podcast group that we talk about the labor of love that is podcasting. But do you ever feel like this labor of love sometimes is too much for you? Or, what do you do, or what do you say to yourself when you feel like, what am I doing out here at 4:00 on a Sunday afternoon, driving down? Like what inspires you to say,
skipping brunch?
Right. Yeah. What inspires you to keep going, to say, let's skip brunch and go out there and get, 5 more shots, by the Brooklyn Bridge? What inspires you to keep doing that kind of stuff?
Because I don't know if this sounds nuts, but I really feel that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's the same way I felt about teaching. Now, while I'm not, a school teacher, I am still teaching people. I feel like God put something in me that I don't think that I could keep to myself. I'm supposed to be a teacher, whether that's a school teacher, whether that's teaching women to love themselves. And though I be tired, sometimes I'm really tired. I know that not everybody has this innate ability to teach and to be creative. And there's a reason why God gave it to me. So I really get up and get out and do what what he wants, what he has put in me. I mean, it's the same thing for you. Everybody doesn't have your consistency. Since I can remember, you have always been on top of your game. And if you weren't on top of your game, Sean, you tried to do the best that you can, right? It's just something in me that I feel like I have to do. It's like, you ever heard somebody say, if you don't use it, you lose it? I don't want to lose it. I want to keep the promises and the gifts that God has given me. So I have to keep going. I have to keep going.
I like that. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, it's funny because I guess it is in our DNA to go out there and just be, trendsetters, or to go out there and just to continue to, lay down a foundation for whatever we want to do. But yeah, right. I agree. You know, we've always been people who go out there and, we never give up. We always try to excel in whatever we're doing. And when times get hard, right, we pivot. I think everyone's used that term pivot in the last couple of years. More often now, because it is true. It really is about recognizing, okay, there's a roadblock here. Let me just adjust a little bit here and go down that road. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of those things during this time, especially since you've been home, but still advertising your brand. I'm curious for you now. Now you mentioned about your line being specifically for women of color. And there's a lot of stuff that's been happening, of course, in our history forever. But of course, lately with Black Lives Matter, the whole Asian hate, Derek Chauvin, George Floyd, Mekhi Bryant, all these things have been going on. Do you feel like these instances have changed the way that you market or brand or use your platform to put out information to women of color? Or do you think that you found other ways to express your frustrations or your voice about these issues through Simply Kura at all?
So you're asking me if I feel like I have had to, my content changes? Yeah, okay. So yeah, I have to. Because I am a woman of color, I would be remiss to not mention certain things. And because most of my audience, not all, because when I look at my analytics, I have a lot of different types of women. But because most of my audience is women of color, they are going through the same feelings and frustrations that I'm going through. So I would be remiss to not mention it, or give people a space to talk about it, or give people a space to not talk about it. They rather just talk about the new red lipstick, because everybody internalizes things differently. But yeah, I did this one video about my perfume collection, and before the perfume collection, it said I don't remember exactly what it was, but something like Black Lives Matter. And there was someone who was not Black or a ally said in the comments that they didn't understand, why would you, they made a whole big fuss about it. They just came here to watch the perfume collection. And that's really when I realized that I have to say something, because everybody doesn't understand. Some of it is out of ignorance, and some of it is out of most of it is out of ignorance. So it's up to me with my little small platform to be able to say whatever I need to say, to make other people, to not only educate other people, but to let my main audience have a space for them to feel comfortable. So yeah.
No, I appreciate that. It's funny, we had a guest on the show last week. She's a WNBA player, and the show was more than an athlete. And she was saying similar, responses about having to use your platform to really go out there and say what's being said, to show the inequality between men and women, to show the inequalities that athletes are given, not just to go out there and dribble basketball, but we have thoughts, we have feelings, we respond to things that are happening in the world, just as well as anyone else does. And recognizing that no matter who responds or how they respond, she's going to say what she wants to say. And it seems like you have that same sentiment. Are you ever weary that people are going to not follow you based on what you share personally? I think that a lot of people sometimes hold their, I ask a lot of people who would do branding and do businesses, how much they want to teeter on the line of what they want to share about their own personal feelings about certain things. So how important to you is maintaining the brand while also maintaining your character and your belief system during these times?
Well, I have struggled with that because, like I said, I have a very diverse audience. So I don't know um, how they would respond to a lot of things that I say or feel. But when I think about the brand, I am the brand. I'm a Black woman that has to deal with what Black women have to deal with. And my audience are people who are Black or women of color or allies. And if you're none of those, then maybe I'm just not the person for you to follow. Does that mess with my money? Yes, it messes with my money. Absolutely. But there's always other money to get, right? Um, I have to stay true to myself because like I said, I'm the brand and I need I don't know, I need to be comfortable and in producing my content that I'm not gonna get told off every 5 minutes. You like me or you don't. If you don't, it's okay. There are a million other people that have a brand that you can follow. But as for me, I have to say it. Because even the people that follow me that are not a woman of color or Black or Asian and our ally, they speak up. They say things like, "Thank you for saying this," or "We're praying for you," or whatever it is. And I appreciate that. And I'm like, okay, now that's what I need. I need allies. So yeah, I at first I was a little nervous, but again, what God has for me, and my money's gonna come where it needs to come from.
Yeah, yeah,
So
awesome.
yeah.
Listen, let's talk fashion a little bit. What are some of the fashion tips you're giving out to people around this time, springtime? People are coming out of COVID, going back into a sense of interacting with other people, right?
Yeah.
Getting away from just wearing t-shirts and shorts or pajama pants on Zoom, actually go back out there and wearing clothing. What are some of your fashion tips now for people, as they go back out there?
I'm going to say we're still being comfortable, guys. We're still being comfortable because we've been in the house for over a year. So you don't have to rush to put your heels on. But for women, particularly blazers, oversized blazers. Think 1990s, like off-duty model. You could put over some really comfortable jeans and some cute flats, even sneakers. Just ease back in there. There's no need to go out and wear your heels, even though I probably will, but there's no need to go out and wear your heels and dress to the nines if you're not comfortable with it yet. So blazers, blazers, blazers. Oversized blazers. Yeah.
Ladies, you heard those tips for sure. Shukura, so Be More Today is basically our thing. It's our motto, it's our mantra. We put this thing out there. You know what we do, right? And I ask everybody on the show what Be More Today means to them because everybody's different, right?
Right.
So you are number 60, a very big number 60 on this show. When you hear the phrase Be More Today, what does that phrase mean to you?
It's funny because my husband and I have goals, right? We have goals to make more streams of income. We have goals to buy a house, and we get overwhelmed because I'm doing everything I'm doing. He's full time, and it's like, how are we ever going to do what we have to do? We wake up every morning and we say to each other, "What's one thing that we can do to help us get to our goal?" Right? And Be More Today means to me, start today. What's one thing you can do today to get to your goal, your big goal? Don't get overwhelmed. If you don't start today, right, when are you going to start? I just think that, first of all, this is amazing to Be More Today. I wish I would have thought of it. But I just think that the more you put off, that you'll just never get there. Just a little bit of a time. And the more time you have, the more little bits of things that you do, the bigger it gets to get to that goal, right? So Be More Today, start today. Be more today, start today.
Awesome.
That's what it means to me.
Awesome. Because what are some final tips you want to share with people who, again, are trying to build a brand, either on social media, are in the fashion world and are trying to expand their brand and trying to build their culture, or anyone who is looking just to go out there and to use social media, especially YouTube and other mediums, as a way to market and grow and use their content to grow any concepts they want to put out there?
I would say find like-minded people, because when you're with you have a group of people that you talk with podcast. I have the same thing for Instagram and my YouTube. And they are able to bounce ideas back off of each other. We're able to kind of tell each other what's coming up, what's trending, support. I would say find like-minded people, find your people, and then also, like I said before, consistency. I mean, there are tons of things that go into it. And actually, we could talk later to tell you how to grow YouTube. But consistency. It's just, that's what I've learned. Even when I didn't know what I had to do on YouTube to be seen, just me just being consistent really helped me gain eyes on my content. So.
Now I gotta ask you now. You gotta share at least one. Give us one little glimpse into a YouTube tip that you want to share with those who are trying to be as big as you are on YouTube.
Okay, he's just big. I'm not that big, but I'll take it. If you are on YouTube and you're trying to grow your audience, I can't tell you the importance of tags. Do you tag your videos or you don't know? You have to tag, and you want to tag like as much as you can do. Your tags, your thumbnails. I spend a lot of time on my thumbnails. I'll take pictures over and over again, because when people see something beautiful, I'm not saying that's me, but when they see a nice picture, they'll click on it. I could go through my thumbnails and see the ones that were not so good and the ones that are much better, that have more higher retention rate and more clicks. And then really just, I don't want to say biting, but really just playing off of the videos that other people in your niche have done. So if I know everybody in the fashion niche is doing a video about the Coach bag that I recently did, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a video, but it's going to be in my own way. I'm going to have, cut out shots. I'm going to have overhead shots. I'm going to have my music. It's going to be Simply Kura, if you will, but it would be in the same vein, because everyone that is looking for fashion and beauty content is probably looking for that purse. So yeah.
Those are good tips, folks. Those are good tips. Cuz, what's next for you? What's next for Simply Kura in the next 5 years? Where are we going with this thing?
Oh, the next 5 years, I need to be the brand. I need to have at least five streams of income. I need to be an inspiration to women. I need God to show me which way I need to go. I'm planning big things. If God willing, I'm planning big things. Simply Kura, the brand. Merch. We're talking about sunglasses line. I want a lot. And not because not only because I desire it, but because God put that in me. So I know He put it in me that I'm supposed to be doing this. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Awesome. Well, we're excited for all those things. And listen, I'm gonna claim that too. We're gonna have you back on the show when Simply Kura, the brand, is bigger than life, and we're gonna have you on here talking about all the great things that you saw happening then, that are gonna be happening hopefully in the future. So again, I appreciate you. I'm proud of you, your family.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we had a chance to catch up on this show. And yeah, just keep doing your thing. We're gonna keep following you. Where can folks follow you and connect with you, either on social media or otherwise?
I am Simply Kura everywhere. My blog, I'm working on that. Simply Kura on YouTube, Instagram, and I'm gonna try to do what the young kids do and maybe do Simply Kura on TikTok. I don't know. I don't know if I'm too old for that. I don't know, but that's where the kids are. Well, not the kids, but even people our age. So I'm gonna try it, see what happens.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of people
Simply Kura
say
across
that.
the board.
You
TikTok,
go
right?
TikTok. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready either, but maybe it's the thing. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So, because I appreciate you so much for being on the show. Thank you. You have made episode 60, not just special because it's number 60, but you made it also just great because it's family. And I appreciate you. And I pray for you and wish you guys the best with all the future endeavors you'll be doing from this moment moving forward. So
awesome.
Thank you so much. And again, listen for our quotation for today, folks. Do not forget it, by Tabitha Brown. Don't let nobody keep you in a box simply because they're scared to get out of theirs. You heard my cousin talk to you guys about what she had to do, putting in hours, right? Hours where she could have been at brunch and doing other things. She's putting in that work to make that brand. And she says she is the brand, right? And she says she was called to do this thing. So you're called to do something as well. You may be afraid to do it. You may be thinking about, oh, well, I can't leave this job and this is so secure. But listen, we're at a point in time now in our lives where time is short. We always say, be more today because tomorrow's not promised. Go out there and make your life what you want it to be. Let's be happy. Let's go out there and put the investment, not just in Bitcoin or whatever else that's out there, which is great, but put it in yourselves. Invest in yourself. Invest in your health and your wealth and your excitement and your drives. And use this time to make sure that you are the brand. Whatever it is, be the brand. You are going to be the brand. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Be More Today show. It's been great. Continue to follow us on Be More Today on all platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We'll have our workouts out there every single Sunday for you guys. Again, my boy T. Farrell is doing his podcast every single Wednesday, the Words for Life show, which is great inspiration for everyone. And if you want to send me a message or want to get in contact with my cousin, you can email me at drshawn@beMoreToday.com. And that's it, folks. Subscribe as always. We appreciate you so much. As I always say, have a good day, have a good night, have a great life, and continue to take your steps of greatness to be the best version of you. We'll see you next week. Peace.